Hello everyone, this is Simple Math for you, and our lesson today is Proving Angle Relationships. أهلا بكم من جديد في Simple Math for you، ودرسنا اليوم هو إثبات العلاقات بين الزوايا. Actually, in this lesson, we are not going to prove the theory or the postulate, but we are going to use the postulates and the theorems in solving the problems. مش راح we are not going يعني لسنا لن نستخدم أو لن نبرهن هذه النظريات، ولكننا سنستخدمها في إيجاد حل للمسائل المختلفة. Let's differentiate between the postulate اللي هي المسلم فيها and the theorem اللي هي النظرية. A postulate is a statement that is assumed true without proof. So when you see the word postulate هو عبارة عن عبارة سلمنا أنها صحيحة. We assuming that it is true without proving that. A theorem اللي هي النظرية is true دائما صحيحة and we can prove it. It is proven already and we can prove it as well. So let's see what are the different postulates and theorems that we are going to use. First, angle addition. A protractor is used to measure angles. This is the protractor. Protractor هي المنقلة اللي احنا استخدمناها في قياس الزوايا. A protractor illustrates the relationship between angle measures and real numbers. So we will use these theorems and postulates to find angle measures. The first one is the protractor postulate. أول واحدة اللي هي نظرية أو مسلمة اللي هي المنقلة. The measure of any angle has a measure that is between 0 and 180. As you see, this is the protractor. And you see, if you have any angle, we can put the vertex of the angle here, and one of the sides on the 0, the other side will show you the measure of the angle. For example, this angle is 130 plus 132, we can say it's less than 135 because this is the direction starting from 0. Also, you can measure it from the other side. You can say that there is an angle like this from here. This is the 0 starting from 0. The measure of angle is 120 degrees. You can take the inner measure or the outer measure. ممكن تستخدم التدريج الداخلي أو الخارجي. على أي حال في الحالتين الزاوية ستكون بين 0 و 180 وليس أكثر من ذلك. هاي أول مسلمة اللي هي protractor postulate. Other one, angle addition postulate. If D is the interior of angle ABC, assuming that we have an angle ABC, this is A, this is B, C. Since B comes at the middle, so B is the vertex of the angle, and D is somewhere in the interior of this angle. So this will lead to measure of angle ABD, that's match ABD, which is this one, plus DBC, which is this one, will lead definitely to the total one, which is ABC. And this is called angle addition postulate. We studied before segment addition postulate. This is the same now. We also have supplement theorem, and we used the supplementary angles before as well. If two angles form linear pair line, then they are supplementary, means they are adding up to 180 degrees. Similarly, complement theorem, if the non-common side of two adjacent angles form right angle, for example, these angles, adjacent angles, this is angle 1, this is angle 2, they are adjacent, they are sharing here a side here. So if this is both right angles, so these are complementary. They are forming right angle, then the angles are complementary angles. Complementary means adding up to 90 degrees. Let's see here some exercises using these postulates or theories. What is measure of angle 3 if measure of angle 2 is 26 degrees? As you see here, all these angles, measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3 all together have sum of 180 because they are forming a line. Measure of angle 1, we can substitute by substitution, it is 90 degrees because this is right. Measure of angle 2 by substitution is 26. Measure of angle 3, we don't know. And we need to solve for the unknown measure of angle 3. So how can we do that? Adding and then subtract by subtraction theory, subtract 116 both sides or leading to that side as we get used to. So measure of angle 3 is, we can subtract 180 minus 116, which is 64 degrees. Done. What is the postulate that we have used or the theorem? We have used that these angles are complementary theorem or complement theorem. We can also use the linear pair theorem in all of them forming right a line. What is the measure of angle 4 if measure of angle 5 is 2x degrees and measure of angle 4 is x plus 9? Now we have to make relation between angles. Angle 4 and angle 5 together forming a line. So using which postulate? This postulate, the supplement theorem, the angles are forming linear pair. So we are using supplement theorem. That means measure of angle 4 plus measure of angle 5 is equal 180, and it is very clear here. Let's substitute by substitution x plus 9 عوض. This is 2x is equals to 180. X plus 2x, 3x. 3x is 180 minus 9. So using subtraction property, which is 171. And x is dividing طبعا by 3. 171 divided by 3, which is 57. This is x. Is he asking for x only? No, he is asking for measure of angle 4. So we need to substitute. Substitution, measure of angle 4 is x is 57 plus 9, which is 66 degrees. Done. Moving to the next part. Real life application, city planning. A city planner is designing an entrance ramp for a freeway. In the diagram, measure of angle ACD is 45 degrees, and it is shown here, 45 degrees. What is measure of BCA? So the one that is here, he is asking for this one. Now he's helping you and he's guiding you to use theories. Measure of angle BCA plus ACD is how much? Of course, it's 180 degrees using supplement theorem. Okay, now we will replace or substitute measure of angle ACD. We will replace. What is ACD? It's given as 45 equals 180. So we have used the substitution property. So what is measure of angle BCA? Measure of angle BCA is 180 minus 45, which is 135. And in this case, we have used subtraction property. We have subtracted. But let's see some practice here. Find the measure of each angle. Find measure of angle ABC if I recommend you to put on the sketch or on the diagram the given information. Measure of angle ABD from here to here is 70 degrees. Measure of angle DBC is 43. He is asking to find the measure of ABC, total ABC. So as you see here, measure of angle ABC is equal to measure of angle ABD plus measure of angle DBC. And this is using angle addition postulate. The sum of the interior angles equals to the total 1. And I will replace measure of angle ABD is given to be 70, DBC 43, and in this way we are adding, and this is the required one. Measure of angle EBC from here to here is 55. Let's choose another color. Measure of angle EBD, the smaller one, interior one, is 20. He is asking for angle 2. It is very clear here that measure of angle EBD plus measure of angle DBC is equal to the total, which is measure of angle EBC. Measure of angle DBC is the same of angle 2 he is asking about. Measure of angle EBD is given to be 20. Measure of angle EBC is given to be 55. So measure of angle 2 is 55 minus 20. Of course, you can do it mentally, but we are using now the postulates. We have done lots of exercise before, and this is 35 degrees. Brilliant. Fine. For the same one, now we will erase that. We have new now given information. Find measure of angle ABD if what is given? ABC, total ABC, 110. Measure of angle 2, only this part is 36. He is asking to find ABD, which is the rest. He is asking to find this one. This one. So again, we will apply angle addition postulate. يعني measure of angle A, B, D plus measure of angle DBC, which is 2, DBC, which is 2, equal the total angle measure of angle ABC. This is angle addition postulate. Measure of angle ABD is the required one. Measure of angle 2 is given, substitution. Measure of angle ABC is given. So measure of angle ABD by subtraction, we will subtract, and it will give us 74 degrees. Easy and straightforward. Real life application, Alabama state flag is white and has 2 diagonal red stripes. If measure of angle 1 is 112, what is measure of angle 2? It's very clear that they are supplementary. They are forming linear pairs. So using supplement theorem, we can say that measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 is 180. Measure of angle 1, we substitute. Measure of angle 2 is unknown. So measure of angle 2 is 180 minus 112. Which is 868. Here we go. Aaron has installed a new window above the entrance of an office building. If measure of angle 2 is 45, what is measure of angle 1? It's very clear that both are complementary. So using complement theorem, measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 1 is 90. Measure of angle 2 is 44. Measure of angle 1 is unknown. So measure of angle 1 is 90 minus 44, and it is 46 degrees. Easy. Now let's go to part 2, congruent angles. The properties of algebra that apply to the congruence of segments and the equality of their measures also hold true for the congruence of angles of the equality. We will learn some terminology here. We have reflexive property, means the angle is congruent to itself, which is common sense. Symmetric property, if angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, so angle 2 is congruent to angle 1. يعني متناظرة، الأولى بتساوي الثانية يبقى أكيد الثانية بتساوي الأولى. Transitive property اللي هي المتعدية, if angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 and this angle 2 is congruent to angle 3 as you see, so angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent and this is called transitive property, يعني خاصية متعدية. يعني إذا قلنا A بتساوي B ونفس ال B هاي بتساوي C فأكيد A equals to C and it is by default. It's common sense. We have also congruent supplement theorem. We can say that here, if angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180, means they are supplementary. Angle 2, which is the same as this, as you see, شوفوا angle 2, you can look here, plus another angle is equal to 180 for definitely by, we call it supplement, congruent supplement theorem. Angle 1 definitely is congruent to angle 3 because they are sharing the same angle 2 as you see in the supplement theorem. Congruent complement theorem, the same thing as you see, angle 4 plus angle 5 is equal to 90. The same angle 5 plus another angle is 90, so definitely angle 4 and the other angle 6 will be congruent. You can learn it this way. This is called congruent complement theorem. And we all know about vertical angle theorem. If two angles are vertical, then they are congruent. So definitely we have here 2 and 4 are congruent. We have 3 and 1 are congruent as well, and they are equal in measure. Let's apply these theorems here. Find measure of angle ABC. So we need ABC, which is this one. And measure of angle CBD. If measure of angle ABD, so we have the total measure ABD totally is equal to 120 degrees. Definitely here we know that measure of angle ABC قياس الزاوية الأولى plus measure of angle CBD, the other angle is the total one, which is angle addition postulate, angle ABD. So 2x, we are substituting, plus CBD, let's arrange it here, CBD is 5x minus 6 is equal to the total, which is 120. And all you need now is to solve the equation. 7x minus 6 is 120. 7x is 126 dividing, so 126 divided by 7 is 18. This is x. So when x is 18, how can you find other angles? We will replace. For this one, measure of angle ABC is 2x. So it's 2 times 18, which is 36. The other angle, we can simply, angle CBD, you can subtract 120, لأنه total 120, so 120, you can replace as well, but you can subtract easier, 120 minus 36, which is 84. If you replace, you should have the same value, 5 times x, which is 18, minus 6, 5 times 18 is 90, minus 6, which is 84. So أكيد صح. Find the measure of each numbered angle and name the theorem that you use to justify your work. يعني we need to find measure of angle 6, 7, and 8, knowing that 6 and 7 has, each one has its own expression. So what is the relation between 6 and 7 that are given? As you see, they are forming a line. So using linear pair theorem or supplement theorem, measure of angle 6 plus measure of angle 7 is equal to 180. We will substitute now the values. And we have 2x plus 3x, which is 5x, minus 21, minus 34, which is 55, So 5x is 180 plus 55, which is 235, divided by 5, which is 47. This is x. So how can you find measure of angle 6? You just replace, I'll change the color. So it's 2 times 47 minus 21, 73. Here, 3 times 47 minus 34. So 3 times 47 minus 34, which is 107. Of course, you can do that by subtracting 180 minus 73. You have the same value. So what is measure of angle 8? Measure of angle 8 is definitely equal to measure of angle 6 because they are vertical angles. So measure of angle 8 is also 73 degrees. Now, let's move here. Now, as you see here, this is given to be right, so it's 90 degrees. Measure of angle 5 and 6 are equal. As you see here, you should notice that all forming a line. So measure of angle 5 plus measure of angle 6 plus the 90 equals to 180. Measure of angle 5 and 6 are the same. So if you call this x, let's say, so this is x and this is x. So we have 2x equal to 90. If you divide, your x is 45, which is one of the angles. So measure of angle 5 is 45, and measure of angle 6 will be also 45 degrees. Make sense? Let's check. If this is 45, this is 45. So total is 90 plus the other 90, 180, which is the straight angle. Yes, sure. Here, measure of angle 2 and 3 are complementary. 2 and 3 are complementary, so they are forming right angle. And we have one of them. Angle 2 is 28. So before I continue directly, I can say that measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3 is 90 degrees. And I can solve directly for angle 3. So I substitute the value of angle 2. And I can find measure of angle 3 by subtracting 90 minus 28, which is 62. Done with one of the angles easily. Now, we know also that measure of angle 1 and 4 are congruent. They are equal in measure. And we can see that all the angles forming a line. It's not very clear, but it's a line. So totally should lead to 180, sum of 180. That means if you call this x, this will be also x. So we can say x plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3, which are totally 90. أول إحنا عارفين إنهم they are complementary. So 90 plus another x is 180 degrees. Let's solve for x. So 2x plus 90 is 180. 2x is 90 and x is dividing by 2, which is 45 degrees. So that means measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 4. Each is 45 degrees. And we found already measure of angle 3 as 62 degrees. Easy. Now question 5. Angle 2 and angle 4 and another pair we have 4 and 5 are supplementing. What does that mean? يعني measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 4 is equal to 180 since he mentioned that they are supplementary. At the same time, measure of angle 4 plus measure of angle 5 are equal. The sum is 180. They are supplementary. As you see here, we have both sharing here. And as we mentioned before in one of the theories, as you see here, this is called congruent supplement theorem. Congruent supplement theorem states that angle 2 will be definitely equal to angle 5 in measure. They are congruent. So measure of angle 2 is equal to measure of angle 5, which is congruent supplement theorem. Okay, so we have now this very important information. So how can we find the rest of the angles? Now we have measure of angle 4 is 105. So we can say that measure of angle 2 plus 105 is 180. So measure of angle 2 is 180 minus 105. 180 minus 105, of course, this is 75 degrees. And we just proved that measure of angle 5 will be equal to measure of angle 2. So it is also 75 degrees. What's left now? So we have angle 2 done, angle 5 done, angle 4 done. We want angle 3. How can we find angle 3? As you know that 2 and 3 are supplementary. So measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3 is equal to 180 degrees. We know the measure of angle 2, which is 75. I'm substituting. So measure of angle 3 is 180 minus 75, which is 105. Done. It is very easy also. Exercise. Now here we have 2 more exercises to finish. Measure of angle 9, measure of angle 10 are given. What is the relation between them? They are linear pair. So measure of angle 9 plus measure of angle 10 is 180 degrees. Substitute 3x plus x, 4x. 12 minus 24 is negative 12 equals 180. And 4x is 180 plus 12. You can add addition property. 180 plus 12, and it is 192. 4x is 192. Dividing by 4 both sides will lead to x is 48, which means now we are replacing. So let's replace x 48. So measure of angle 9 is 3 times 48 plus 12, which is 156. Measure of angle 10 will be just the supplement. You can just subtract or you can replace as well. So you can say 48 minus 24, which is 24 degrees. Easy. Last question. Measure of angle 3, measure of angle 4 are given. What is the relation between them? They are vertical angles. So we have to use vertical angle theorem, which states that measure of angle 3 is congruent or equal to measure of angle 4. So it's 2x plus 23 is equal to 5x minus 112. You can take the x's together, the numbers together. So minus 3x is 112 plus 23 is 135, and the negative dividing by negative 3 both sides, and we have x is 45 degrees. 45, sorry. Now replacing as usual, substitute to find the measures. So measure of angle 3 is 2 times the 45 plus 23, 113. Measure of angle 4 is definitely the same without replacing because they are vertical angles. Now we have applied most of the theories: supplement theorem, complement theorem, congruent complement, and congruent supplement. We applied real life application. I hope this lesson was clear for everyone. Hope you enjoyed. and thank you all. شكرا جزيلا لكم. اليوم راجعنا كثيرا من المفاهيم المتعلقة بالزوايا المتكاملة والمتممة والمتقابلة بالرأس، وأيضا نظريات تتعلق ب angle addition postulate اللي هي إضافة الزوايا إلى بعضها لتكوين الزاوية الرئيسية، وكثير من المفاهيم التي استمتعنا بها. أشكركم لحسن استماعكم ومشاهدتكم، وإلى اللقاء.